Welcome to another edition of the Giants Huddle podcast, brought to you by Citizens, the official bank of the Giants. We're squeezing one more in before the 2025 NFL Draft. We dragged Phil Simms out of the Giants Power Breakfast, and he's coming over here to talk about some of the quarterbacks in the draft with us. Phil, good to see you, man. How are you?
Good to see you. We've had a nice conversation before we came on the air, so don't mess it up.
No, I won't. We were talking a lot of detail of quarterback mechanics, which I'm sure people will love that, but we're going to do a little bit more surface-level stuff here.
Yeah.
We want to talk about the quarterbacks with you. First thing I'll ask you, in your mind, speaking generically, are any of the quarterbacks in this class to you worth the third overall pick in most NFL drafts?
No. I think that there are a few people that are hanging on to that with their dear life because this is what we did back in January or whatever. So I just want to say to them, let it go. You know, I watched a lot, know a lot of quarterbacks, studied them for many years, studied the guys when I was playing, and overall, no, I don't even have to think about it. There's not one that's the third pick of the draft.
All right, we're going to ignore Cam Ward because all the tea leaves seem to be indicating he's going to be off the board. You want to talk about him?
Yeah, just a little.
Sure.
He's the first. Here's what I say. The Tennessee Titans get a new general manager. He talks about the team, and he doesn't say anything about the quarterback because they had Will Levis and whatever. Then he studies it. Then he starts studying Cam Ward, and he goes, damn, I don't think we were thinking about a quarterback, but he's really good. And I'll say this about Cam Ward. I think he's terrific, really deserves to be the first pick of the draft, and I think he has a chance to be absolutely outstanding. Great thrower of the football, passer, big, strong, can break tackles when he runs, more mobile than people think. And the great thing, too, is he doesn't need a lot of space to throw rockets. I mean, if guys are this close to him, he'll just turn and rip it. And I once I studied him, I went, damn, he's a lot better than I thought. And here's the other thing. He can play it any way you want. You want to have a shootout? He's a gunslinger. If he's got to manage the game as the quarterback and keep it tight, not make mistakes and all that, he does that too. So that's what really endeared me to him as I studied him.
So that would be the one guy that you would consider then at the top of the draft. So
yeah, I consider if I had the first pick of the draft, he would definitely be the one I would take.
Okay, let's go to the next group of guys now. I'm just gonna throw out names and you can go. Shedeur Sanders.
Shedeur, there's a lot of qualities about him. I guess first off, I'm going to pick up for him. People say this, well, he's not that big. Well, damn, how big do we want him to be? When I see him on the field, he looks damn big to me. He's got big legs, big old rear end. He's tall. He's got long.
Thick. He's thick.
He's got long arms, big hands, and they said, his mobility's not. I think he moves in the pocket. You and I were talking about this before. I think he's really, really good with his feet popping around the pocket. And that's why I like to say it, pop, pop. It's, move. It's not, so he does that, escapes well. The throwing is good. It's not great. He's got a really high delivery, really high. One of the highest I've ever seen analyzing quarterbacks. And I'll ask you a question.
Yeah.
Who in the NFL has a really, really high release?
Well, I always go back to Drew Brees, not in the league anymore, but that's the guy I always go to.
Yeah, it's just very few. Most guys have a different way of throwing. I'm not going to get into that. But Shedeur has a lot of good qualities. Took too many sacks outside the pocket. So when you're outside the pocket, what's that mean? You scrambled, you're out there, you're looking for somebody open. If they're not open, throw it away. And, so there's a few misleading things about him, but I do like the person, the energy that comes out of him. There's many ways to play quarterback. High energy, tough guy, quiet guy, whatever. His is high energy, and that's pretty good for a football team.
The Giants Huddle podcast is brought to you by Citizens, the official bank of the Giants. From game day celebrations to your everyday financial needs, Big Blue can get the most out of every moment with Citizens. Learn more at citizensbank.com/Giants.
Huddle up, get in here. If you're lined up here, you gotta go over the middle with it to score.
Right. How do we make that happen?
I don't know.
But Citizens does.
Make sense of your money with Citizens, official bank of Eli Manning.
So this will apply to Shedeur, and I think one of the guys we're going to talk about in Jackson Dart. When you're looking at college quarterbacks, Phil, and they play in a largely what I would call a college system, like an Art Briles type system.
You're getting right in my wheelhouse
so,
here, but go ahead.
And I think even though Pat Shermer was OC, that Colorado offense was not an NFL West Coast offense. When Jackson Dart at Ole Miss, that was not an NFL type of offense, right?
I'm very, very.
How do you evaluate that?
Very surprised. Hey, I'm just judging the guy. I'm not judging the system and the coach. I don't care.
But don't you have to figure out how they're reading it out, how they're thinking about it, and things like that?
Are they doing what they've been taught? So that's how I look at it.
Okay.
Shedeur, yes, it was a really interesting offense. Okay, if you have a bad offensive line, why are we always in spread? Everybody get outside. And, of course, the numbers, 74% completion, that's really good. But, a tremendous high number of screens.
A lot of screens, yeah.
And so it's a little bit false when you look at some of those numbers, but I don't care. How's he reading the play? Is he finding the right guy? He does an okay job in that, not great. In other words, he doesn't stay with the pattern of the play as much as I would like to see him do as a quarterback. Now, Jackson Dart, I hear this. Oh, it's not a pro offense, it's this. Man, I love their offense, and I love it for a quarterback getting ready to go into pro football. It has all the things. They have tons of plays where a lot is on the quarterback, 1, 2, and 3, whatever. If it's open, we run. And I thought I wrote in my notes many times, man, it's a great offense for a college kid, okay? I didn't see, when the way you phrase it sometimes, or people do, it sounds like it's a big gimmick. It's not a gimmick. It has tons of NFL plays in it, tons. And I would say, just looking at Jackson Dart, I've said this this week a lot. He's smooth thrower, has a really good arm. Is it top flight NFL? No, but it doesn't have to be. We've seen many guys do it without tremendously strong arms, but he's a good decision maker. His mobility is an issue, that it will be a problem because he knows how to escape the pocket and get a few yards and protect himself.
A problem for defenses, not for him.
Yeah, a problem for defenses. And, like I said, the motion, the positions he gets in to throw the football are all good. So, it's hard not to say that you like Jackson Dart a lot.
How quickly do you think he could get on the field, or is it going to take some training?
I don't think it'll take long. He's got great experience. He's got the body type. All that, his throwing they're going to find out right away. He's naturally accurate with the football, so I always say this, and some people are put on earth to throw, okay? And he's one of those. So That's what I see.
Let's go to Tyler Shuck. He comes from that Brom offense at Louisville, which I think has a lot of NFL concepts, under center, all that sort of stuff.
That's what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
It truly is. Jeff Brom played in the NFL a little bit, and he likes it. He likes that type of offense. Why? He needs the quarterback to play well, but it toughens up. They run the ball enough and believe in handing it off or whatever to make their team tough. But Tyler Shuck, I watched him at Texas Tech some. I went back and looked at that. They had tons of quarterback runs when he was playing there, and he was really dynamic and a little too tough. And his throwing, man, he would let it go. Now, the guy I saw at Louisville, a little more careful running, still got mobility to really be help him in the NFL. And the throwing was good, but I didn't see him just rear back and throw it like I did at Texas Tech. But a lot of people like him. They should. Louis Riddick did games at Louisville for the ACC network. And
he loves him.
He loves him. Of course, see, that's what he has. He saw him in a game. He sees him in person. He probably watched practice. So that's information that you just can't get sometimes from just watching film.
All right, let's go to Jalen Milroe, who I think just based on his throwing is going to be a little bit more of a project to get him ready to go.
No doubt.
But what do you see from him, and do you think he can get to where he needs to be a guy that could be a pocket passer in the National Football League?
Man, that's a long road to travel.
It is.
That's a long one. So, I'm not going to say yes or no, but it's going to be tough. And if it's tough like it was in college for him, see, if I could run like Jalen Milroe, I'm not going to get to the third read of a play. By God, I'm gone. I'm going to look at one, maybe two. I don't know. One, he's covered. I'm gone.
And by the way, that's not a bad play for him because he's so fast.
No, he is. He's strong, fast, big. He's got all that going for him, and that's great. But it's going to be, hey, it was rough in the SEC at times.
It's hard to live that way in the NFL.
And it's really hard. Yeah. And sooner or later, and everybody goes, oh, well, maybe he can turn into Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson came into the league. He could really throw the ball. Yeah. He had great power, touch. And when I studied him before he came out, I was like, oh, my gosh, he's so much faster and quicker. And I'm from Louisville. I followed Louisville. Bobby Petrino was his coach. And I couldn't get over it. I thought he was going to be the first or second pick of the draft that year.
If you want to know how to manage 2 minutes of crunch time football, I'm your man. But if you're wondering about a long-term financial plan, you should talk to Citizens. Hey, I can also talk lawn care.
I'd like to learn about a mowing routine.
Yes, I knew I could help.
Make sense of your money with Citizens.
All right, final question on the quarterbacks, and then I know you got to get out of here.
I'm fine. Don't rush me.
No, I got to make sure you get to where you got to go on time.
I'll be all right.
All right. When you look at a quarterback, Phil, what are maybe one or two of the things where you watch them play in college and they maybe do something a certain way that raises a red flag for you, that you get concerned as to whether or not that can be corrected with coaching, or is that something that's instinctual and kind of what they are from a, deep inside of them that's going to be hard to correct from a coaching perspective in the NFL?
Yeah, that's tough. I would just say this, and I say this every year, and I say it many times. When you're looking at quarterbacks, and you're looking up, no matter what round you think they're going to go in, are there two physical traits that you can really count on? And what are those traits? Is he big? Is he really fast? Does he have a really strong arm? Is he just dead-eye accurate throwing the football? All those things. And I always kind of phrase it this way. The quarterback with teams in the NFL now, and the kids coming in, when it's a routine throw, you just can't miss it. You can't. You got to hit all the routine throws. There's 15 to 20 of them a game. Screens, short passes, guys moving, whatever, a little whatever it is. You got to do that. And if you can't make consistently, Jalen Milroe would fit in this category. Consistently make the routine throws, and it's going to be hard to have great success in the NFL. And what we need is the quarterback that makes those routine throws, and then can he give me 3 or 4 special ones, which usually means to me a power throw down the field somewhere in between defenders where you go, I know I can get it in there because I've done it a lot of times, and you get it done in the game. So, that's kind of how I start judging, and it comes in so many forms, the quarterbacks now, that you got to be careful how you do it. But hard to come in the NFL and to go from a running, mostly physical quarterback to become a pocket passer. That is a really, really tough transition.
All right, opposite side of that question. What's something that you think can get cleaned up or improved or get better with good coaching as you move along with your quarterback?
If the coaches really know what they're doing and how to do it, I think the first thing, it's like golf. We see a golfer, he's really good, but it's not coming together. And the reason why is your swing is a little out of whack. It's not pro tour ready. And that's the same with throwing. Do you have the motion that's going to give you a chance to be really consistent? And as a quarterback, when you go on that field, no matter who you are, and these kids coming up, they're going to find out, damn, the third quarterback, he can really throw it. Come to the Giants. Okay, we got the two we know they signed. Watch Tommy DeVito throw.
He can throw it.
Tommy DeVito can throw it. And if they bring a quarterback in, that's one of the first things you're going to say. Who the hell's he? Because he can. Tommy DeVito, of course, he's a Jersey guy and all that, but he is an excellent thrower of the football. There's other things you got to tie up, but you can help quarterbacks become more accurate if you teach them a few things that are really standard to all great throwers in the NFL.
All right, final question. Based on what you know about Brian Dable, what he likes from the quarterback position, based on how his offense works and what you've seen from the Giants offense, which one of these guys do you, not including Cam Ward, do you think would be a good fit for how the Giants use their quarterbacks in their offense?
Well, listen, draft the guy, whatever. You're going to have to make adjustments in what you do and what you call and what you design a little bit for every single quarterback. So I would say for all the guys that we're talking about, not a big adjustment. He's going to be able to, besides Jalen Milroe, the rest of them are going to be in the thing. They're going to be pocket passers, and you hope for some mobility, but you want the guy that has extreme accuracy throwing the football. And I think the three ones that we all put in the group are what? Shedeur, Jackson Dart,
Tyler Shuck.
Mm-hmm. Those three. And I think they all kind of have it. And I'm not going to get too detailed about it, but one is a little more mobile than the other ones. One is this, and this one throws the ball with a little more pace on it or whatever. So they all kind of have it. I think they all will fit the New York Giants, depending on how it goes. I would expect, I hate to do all these, I would expect one of those three to be with the Giants here tomorrow night. So
I like to hear. So you said tomorrow night. So you're thinking maybe a trade up for one of those guys. Not that you know anything, just thinking about it.
If I had to guess, I'm just guessing. I'm a fan.
We all are, Phil.
Yeah,
all
I'm
of
a
us are
fan.
guessing. Trust me.
The Giants are going to have to move up in the first round to get the guy that they want.
I agree with you.
I don't think there's any way around that. And, people lay in the woods to draft a quarterback that have been quiet all offseason. And we know all the teams that need one. And so the Giants are going to, if I'm just saying this, they'll probably got to be a little more aggressive in their trade up than probably first anticipated to be.
Phil Simms on the Giants Huddle podcast brought to you by Citizens, the official bank of the Giants. Enjoy the draft, everybody.